He sat on the same corner every morning, just outside the luxury bakery where people paid more for a croissant than he had in his pocket. His coat was threadbare, his hands calloused, and his eyes distant. Most walked past him without a glance. A few threw coins his way. Some scoffed. But none paused to wonder why a man who wore silence like armor always faced the sunrise, as if waiting for something greater than pity. One morning, a sleek black car pulled up. Out stepped a sharply dressed man, all confidence and arrogance. He glanced at the silent figure on the sidewalk and sneered. "Still here?" He muttered loud enough for bystanders to hear. "You know, ambition gets you off the ground. Laziness keeps you in the dirt." Laughter echoed from the small crowd of young professionals standing nearby. They were regulars at the bakery, always rushing, always loud, always proud. One woman shook her head. People like that just gave up. No drive, no dreams. But one intern among them, new, quiet, observant, noticed something strange. Every day, the man arrived at exactly 6:43 a.m., looked toward the same building across the street, then took out a worn notebook and scribbled something. Not begging, not ranting, just watching, writing. And he always left at 7:52. Sharp. The intern grew curious. One evening, he returned to the bakery at night, after closing. The building the man always watched was dark, except one window. Lit. Quiet. The name on the door was faded. Faulkner Holdings. He searched the name online. Nothing current. Just a few old listings tied to long-dormant business accounts, offshore investments, and one major scandal nearly 2 decades old. Embezzlement. Disappearance. No arrests. No resolution. The next morning, the intern dropped a coffee beside the silent man without saying a word. The man didn't drink it. He simply handed over a small folded paper. There was no message, only a list of names. The intern recognized 2 of them. They were part of the group who laughed that day. He kept the note. 2 weeks later, one of the names, an executive at a rising tech startup, suffered a very public fall. A leaked document. Insider trading. The press tore him apart. Then the second name, she vanished from social media overnight. Rumors circled. Financial audits. Broken contracts. By then, the group at the bakery stopped laughing. Some avoided the corner altogether. But one returned. The man with the expensive car. The one who mocked first. He approached the silent figure, tried to laugh it off. "You think this is funny? You think you're some kind of ghost with a grudge?" No answer. He leaned closer. "You're nothing. You're just a reminder that failure stinks." The man finally looked up. His eyes weren't angry, just tired. Like he'd seen too much, lost more than most could carry, and came back not for revenge, but for something else. He reached into his coat and pulled out a single photograph. A younger version of himself, shaking hands with a group of suited men, one of them unmistakably the loud businessman now standing before him. A company party. Years ago. Before the fall. Before the betrayal. "You spoke when you should have listened," the man finally said. The businessman froze. "You?" But it was too late. A black SUV rolled up. Out stepped 2 federal agents. Quiet, efficient. They didn't need to say much. One showed a warrant. The other, a badge. The man was arrested on the spot. Fraud. Money laundering. False reporting. It had taken years to build the evidence. Years of silence. Watching. Waiting. The intern, now watching from across the street, was stunned. The man on the sidewalk had been the former co-founder of a vanished empire, one thought to have disappeared after a mysterious financial collapse. But he hadn't run. He'd chosen exile. To observe. To rebuild quietly. Piece by piece. Secretly creating a fund to reward those who showed kindness and expose those driven by ego and greed. Word spread like wildfire. "You won't believe this homeless man's true identity." Co-founder becomes invisible billionaire to expose old rivals. The man who let ego destroy him and chose silence to rebuild. People came from all over just to see the corner. But he was gone. In his place, a plaque. Asterisk, sometimes silence, says what pride never could. Asterisk. The intern later received a letter. No return address. Inside was a check and a single sentence. You listened when others spoke to be heard. To this day, people still argue about what really happened. Some say he vanished again, starting anew in another city. Others believe he was never homeless at all, that it was all a test of character, a long game to reveal the truth about human nature. But those who met him, even briefly, remember the feeling he left behind. That unsettling silence that made you question your own choices. That space between ego and heart. Because when ego speaks louder than heart, it's not always the one yelling who wins. Sometimes it's the one who listens and waits. Keywords: inspirational story, life-changing tale, silent billionaire, secret past, suspenseful story, dramatic real-life story, emotional storytelling, true lesson, ego versus humility, mystery story, character transformation, powerful twist, story that changed lives, secrets revealed, dramatic ending. Let me know if you'd like this adapted into a YouTube script or voiceover format next.